Okay, thank you. And thank you everyone for your patience. I thought that I would be able to get to the park before the meeting started while my poor kiddo sits and waits for camp to begin for her day. But doing all the things. So thanks Shelby for getting us kicked off, and thank you Janelle for just going ahead and doing that update. I really appreciate it. What are there any questions about that anyone has for Janelle or about the Front Range program that we can answer? Yes, Amanda.
Okay. My question is concerns the fieldwork aspect of it, or the field training. So quite a few of our pre-apprentices are a little bit more mature, and they are coming up against kind of like more physical aspects of arboriculture, so like climbing. They're really leaning more towards like plant health care. Is climbing going to continue to be a requirement, or is it a requirement for the apprenticeship program through Front Range?
That's a very good question. So that came up with one of the apprentices this year, and currently that is written into the standards. Now, what's important is that these standards are registered by each employer that is participating in the program. So the employers are the ones that have specified that as part of the standards, and thus it is part of the related technical instruction. I don't know if there's I don't know how we might deal with this climbing issue.
I mean, I think it's a great discussion to have, down the road, probably not during this meeting, but I mean, is there a way to develop an apprenticeship that is that doesn't involve climbing? Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh, stop. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, sorry. I thought my phone like died. It just said temperature, it needs to cool down. And I was like, I'm in the middle of a meeting. But anyways, I really think that there is a place for that. And I think it's worth discussion. I think right now the apprenticeship as it stands, and through Front Range, the related learning through Front Range as it stands, there is a climbing component, and the purpose behind it is to have at the end someone who can climb, lead a crew, be a foreman for a climbing trim crew. And so that's kind of the purpose right now. But I think, yeah, let's talk about the possibilities, right? And where we could go. So.
Well, and Megan, I don't know if you can see the chat. People are putting in there, and it makes sense that what the option would be is that one or several employers would have to create and register an apprenticeship that does not have that climbing. And then I suppose what we could do on our end, if we look at that whole program that we have, maybe there are courses that get skipped for that. You skip the climbing things if someone registers a separate apprenticeship. I mean, I don't know if it's really that simple, but.
Right. And Adrian commented just now as well that, yes, you would need to register that type of apprenticeship with the Department of Labor for it to become that recognized credential across the United States. So, yeah, Kat?
And I mean, it can be that simple. And if you have a program right now, you're adding an occupation. So you are creating the standards. And right now we're using TCIA competencies for the climbing arborist. So everything's been provided for you. But that if one or a group wanted to come together, whether that's using, like Janelle said, some of those classes, or you'd probably have to compensate for other classes, and maybe they already exist. But It can be as simple. Now, I've always told everybody my job is to be a tour director, but it's like a dude ranch where you do the work and I make it look really easy. But on paper, it could be that easy. And so, but there is also, I know that when I say occupation, there's apprenticeable occupation, which means that it's easy within the US DOL's framework and you don't have to do a bunch of extra legwork. So it's just arborist that's approved. And I say just, we've identified that as climbing arborist, but you could put a plant health arborist under that. And I believe we've had that conversation in this space in the past. And then I also know that tree trimmer is a shorter occupation that keeps you on the ground. And probably doesn't get you to that same level of plant health you might be looking for. But those might already exist.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, I think this is like awesome discussion. And I think if we want to kind of dive into that more, I would love to, for anyone who wants to have that discussion, including people who are in that, who are on here that are in, the lawn care space and that type of a thing, having a discussion on how do we establish a different, type of an apprenticeship. And thank you, Adrian, for your comments, for the clarifications. For those of you who don't know, Adrian has been with this from the very beginning in Colorado, and definitely has a lot of knowledge. So, let's have a conversation maybe about having another conversation and how we might expand things in Colorado as we're able to. Other next thing on the agenda, Shelby, and sorry to table that, but I want to make sure we get through everything in our meeting today.
The next thing would be either if Amanda or Jane, if you guys have any updates on the pre-apprenticeship program. I know you said that the second cohort did graduate recently.
I can go ahead and take that since Jane is pretty new. Yeah, we just graduated our second cohort. We graduated about 10 out of the 12. Four or five of those have been placed with employers already. So the cohort is improving, our curriculum is improving, our field work is improving, and we start the next one in September. And we're hoping to keep on improving until we can get this really dialed in and have some good candidates for tree stewards out there.
I love it. Thank you so much for that update. And Jane, welcome to the sector partnership and to your new role. We look forward to learning more about you and working with you. So really, really cool program that's going places, and we're pretty excited about it. So
thanks so much. I'm excited to join you.
Yeah, wonderful. What do we have next, Shelby?
Next up is Austin. He's going to be presenting on veterans in apprenticeship and different resources and kind of the intangible and the tangible kind of benefits of both hiring veterans and having them into apprenticeship. So, Austin.
Hey guys, thank you so much. So my background, I served in the military. I did a deployment overseas, and upon coming home, veterans deal with a number of challenges re-entering the workforce. The great benefit of hiring us and a wonderful way to thank veterans is by consciously employing veterans. And by doing so, there's so many benefits that come to not just the veteran themselves, but to employers. A lot of key benefits to hiring us. We have a higher level of accountability as well as leadership. There's a lot of things we learn in the military, the traits and qualities that make us wonderful soldiers and seamen and Marines. Employ so many benefits to you guys as employers. The biggest one I want to talk about is the WOTC, which is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, just for hiring a veteran and having them employed for 27 consecutive weeks allows you guys as the employers to get benefits anywhere from a minimum of $2,400 up to $9,600. There's also benefits for hiring disabled veterans through the VA. The VA will actually pay for changing the employment work area. So if you have a veteran who has a disability and they need a ramp, they need door accessibility, the VA will actually cover that to change and improve the workspace for those veterans. And that's amazing. The best thing too, as veterans, we have easier access to education and training benefits. There's so many resources that are out there for us. So by hiring us, you're able to access all of that, which improves your workforce. It builds camaraderie amongst your team. And a lot of us have worked towards leadership. We've been in those leadership roles while in the military. There's so many benefits when it comes to that. We have a ton of technical education, as well as tactical proficiency in equipment. A lot of us have run bigger trucks, heavier equipment while deployed overseas. We all go through training. It makes it easier for us to obtain licenses, CDLs, and have a lot more technical knowledge when it comes to operating heavy machinery, as well as communicating skills. There's a big one. It's called the Transition Assistant Program. TAP is the acronym for it, and that's sponsored by the VA. They provide tons of valuable resources as well as educational opportunities, not just for veterans, but for the employers as well. And then the work of Arborist presents challenges that vets are well equipped to meet. Through our experiences of dealing with high stress, high anxiety, high pressure, it's natural for us to jump into this kind of work and be able to rise to the challenge. Honestly, it's a thrill, right? Veterans are always looking for that next challenge. We're very goal oriented, and this opportunity, especially in this industry, provides so many options for that. There's a few other things too. So there's a salary subsistence during training. So while we're training, the VA has on-the-job training funds through the Veteran Readiness and Employment Program. So while we're training, before we become certified arborists, before we get that journeyman's license or complete the program through Front Range, we're able to subsidize veterans' wages. So you can pay them an entry-level wage during training and get subsidized through the VA for that. And then we also have there's a salary reimbursement program. It's an incentive hiring vets. The VA can reimburse employers by hiring vets that meet certain requirements. Like I said, it's 27 consecutive weeks. But by doing so, you guys can get reimbursed on the time spent for our training, help purchasing of equipment. And it's also designed for vets who struggle after coming home to get jobs. So by you guys doing that, not only are you helping yourselves, you're helping us as well. And then we have a long list of intangibles. Me, myself, when I was overseas, I spent a lot of time around people from all over countries, all over the United States. We worked well with all of these people. We had language barriers. And by doing so, it allowed our communication skills to grow and strengthen. Veterans usually have a better way of speaking. We're able to communicate across many languages, many boundaries, and get the job done. Like I said, we're very goal-oriented and want to accomplish the mission. So by doing so, we're able to take on a little more responsibility and face that adversity. Our work ethic, pushing through early hours, late nights, there's generally a sense of a strong work ethic with us, learning to work hard and using determination to accomplish those goals. Also, like I said, we're used to working in uncomfortable, stressful situations, and our background prepares us well for those challenges. And as you guys all know, working in this industry, it's dealing with things on the spot, high stress, high anxiety, and being able to just figure it out and problem solve. We also come from a regimented, structured environment. So our organization skills, working logistics, planning, figuring out the resources, the people, the trucks, the equipment, understanding a bigger picture. I always like to see, I can see the forest from the trees, right? Being able to take a step back and see that entire picture. It's a skill that we're able to push forward. And like I said, I'm huge on teamwork, right? Having the right people in the right place. By doing that and having veterans together, one, we want that sense of camaraderie, but we can bring that to any team. Which brings me into my last point of leadership. We've been put in a lot of positions to where we have to step up, and we're willing to do that and want to do that, right? By surrounding ourselves with people of like mind and continuing to push forward. There's so many benefits, like I said, and I will be able to get with Shelby if you guys want all the information. You can get with her through the Colorado Tree Sector Partnership email or the Arborscape email. The biggest one is our, like I said, the workforce WOTC tax credit amount. You guys get that just for hiring a veteran. There's a little bit of paperwork required with it, which we'll be able to go through if you can get a hold of Shelby. But the benefits, like I said, of hiring us and bringing us on board are insurmountable. There's so many benefits to it, and I just want to take this opportunity to share that with you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Like I said, I partner with a nonprofit organization called Veterans Healing Veterans. We get veterans together, we find them job placement, we run them through filling out resumes, getting back in connect with the civilian world, as well as getting service-connected benefits. There's a few grants out there right now that I'm applying for that allow us to purchase equipment for our tree climbing. You guys know the gear is not cheap, but the benefits for us are huge, and we want to be a part of those teams and continue to strive and better ourselves. So thank you guys. Let me know if you have any questions.
This is David with Arborscape. One of the things I'd like to mention is if you have any questions about the workforce part, contact Kat or Nick. They're both on here, and they will help us. They will help you walk through whatever you need to do. And they're also aware of the different grants out there, the different things out there. The one thing Austin didn't touch on is when you go through Workforce Center, veterans move to the top of the list for everything. So if you have 100 people applying for something and you have a veteran, the veteran gets moved to the top. And Kat and them are all aware of this. So don't forget to reach out to them and have them help you, because they know way more than any of us. And if they don't know it, Kat's really good at pointing you in the right direction of what you need or where to go. So is there any questions for Austin?
Thank you, Austin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That was wonderful, and a really unique perspective and presentation that since I've been with the sector partnership, we haven't really, haven't gotten into as much in detail. So thanks for being here, Adrian. So I really, I am so excited, Austin, that you've joined Arborscape, and David has brought you into the sector partnership to be a resource for us and help us understand the benefits I didn't even know about hiring veterans. For us, when we see a service record on someone's resume, in my mind, that actually brings someone often to the top of the pile because of the training and mindset that many veterans have. So thank you for bringing that to our meeting today, and for being a resource for us, and also to our workforce center and folks who know all the things.
Yeah,
Kat in particular has been extremely helpful in many ways, and so thanks for being a resource on that too.
Yeah, and I'd like to give a shout out to Justin Shomig. He's been my representative from the CDLE and the Workforce Center. He's done amazing things, not just for me, but other veterans that we've sent his way to our organization. So thank you guys all from the Workforce Center too. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That was really well prepared, Austin, and very informative. Are there any other questions that anyone has, or we can keep going on with the agenda, and we can always circle back around if people do come up with questions. But Austin is generally on these meetings on a regular basis. So I don't think he's going anywhere, which is great.
Yeah, I'll be-
So, Shelby, what is next on the agenda? And thank you so much for keeping track of that for me today.
Yeah. I did want to check first, Phil, you had your hand up earlier. I wasn't sure if you had your question. No? Okay. So the next thing after that is actually the CalCap update. So,
Great.
yeah.
I gave a little bit of information about this in our last meeting, and CalCap has agreed to bring us on and help us honestly survive, right, and then thrive too, as a sector partnership, because funding through only grants is a difficult thing to do. So CalCap, for those of you who have not been on a meeting and heard this, is the Colorado Arborist and Lawn Care Professionals, and they are a membership-based organization, and we are coming on as a committee under CalCap, and the cool thing is we get to still do all of our sector partnership things, right? We get to act as the sector partnership as we have been, and we get to benefit too from the reach that CalCap has, and hopefully as well CalCap will benefit from the reach that we have in getting more arborists involved with CalCap, and they're looking at hopefully creating a lawn care type of an apprenticeship as well, hopefully down the road, and our knowledge and experience in that will be helpful to them. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and we're really looking forward to it. And I really appreciate Will and Luke and Jason for all being on the meeting today with short notice. I thought of it last night and went, oh my gosh, I should forward this email to them so they have the opportunity to join us today. So the folks on the CalCap board that I have spent much time with are very dedicated individuals to the industry, and really involved. So I think this is going to be great all around. So not a whole lot will change with our monthly meetings, but hopefully as new opportunities come about, and we're able to have funding either in a grant way or from activities we do within CalCap, we'll have a little bit more resources to pursue some of those opportunities. So yeah, that is a general background update on what's going on with CalCap. We're working on an MOU. I have submitted that MOU, and we'll make sure that's tightened up and all agreed upon, and then move forward in our journey. Are there questions? Anything anyone wants to say from either the sector partnership or those who are here joining us from the CalCap board?
I can jump in quick. I do have to head out here for another meeting, so it was good timing. But yeah, it was also good timing with this relationship. I think CalCap and what you guys are doing share a lot of the same goals and vision, mainly around education, getting more workers our way and more knowledgeable about our industry in general. Back 3 years ago, I joined CalCap mainly to be more up to date on legislative issues, and the other was really the education part, building a stronger industry for the future. So it's exciting. I think, like Megan said, there's things that we can help each other out with. I think it'd be cool to really expand outside of just tree and explore lawn and landscape into this apprenticeship as well, and then continue to build what you guys have already done as well. So look forward to seeing more of you in the future. And on that note, I will be bouncing out of here. So we'll talk to you later.
You being here. Any other questions or is anything anyone wants to say? Okie doke. Very good. We'll keep going then.
Okay, the next thing, the career fair I have written down is the Broomfield Workforce Center Career Fair, June 28th, 3 to 5 p.m. That is happening. And then also Kat mentioned some at the beginning.
Jefferson County is planning a diversity job fair in August. It doesn't look like they sent me their date yet. So if you are interested in learning more about hiring Jefferson County residents, and of course we know that means hidden or physical disabilities, as we were just talking about physical limitations earlier. If you want to connect with me, I can connect you, or as soon as I have information on who you would contact to learn more, I can get that over to Shelby to get it out. And then I don't know if Nick or Emily has anything from their areas.
No, I could check in with my team though and see if we have anything upcoming. I could share it with you guys.
That sounds great. Yeah. And anyone on the call, as you hear about things, if you get an email sent to you with opportunities, particularly for us to be present as a sector partnership, to send those along to Shelby, and we can get that information distributed. And if we can show up as a sector partnership, great. Or even you can show up as an individual company. That's just, the more we can get the word out about our industry, the better. So thank you for continuing to send those to us as a group. I know that I forwarded, so Nikki, who was our convener with the place setting company, sends us things from time to time that she gets, which is wonderful and very helpful, because many people are connected with her, as she also works with other sector partnerships. And there is the grant program available for green industry career training, that I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but it is something that we can send out to the group. It doesn't look like it's something, when I briefly looked at it, and maybe some of the workforce people know and maybe they don't, but it seems to be more for training programs. So it may be something great for the park people. And it may be helpful for Front Range, but I don't think it was for individual employers necessarily. It was more for larger organizations, if I read it correctly. But again, that was very brief and it was just sent to me earlier this week. But that is something that is out there and available for application. So I don't know if it's something, the way I looked at it, that we would be able to apply for as a sector partnership. But anyways, that was a super eloquent way of saying that I know about a thing that I don't know a whole lot about, but we can send the information out from what Nikki sent to us.
Yeah, that'd be great, Megan. I think send it my way. And even Amanda and Jane, I'll take a look at it if it makes sense to partner. I mean, what on the surface, I think, is if we can apply, it's cost underwriting for all of you. And, maybe we'd have the sector partnership be, kind of provide a letter of support or something like that. I don't know if we can swing it like that, but that's kind of what comes to mind. Because I think I told you all before, I'm fairly certain, although I still haven't gotten confirmation, that we're going to get an extension on our the grant that's been funding different activities, but it would only apply to year one. So it would allow us to, keep those year one apprenticeship costs low, but we're still looking at $2,500 a person for year two. But grants like this, if they can underwrite all or a portion of that cost, I know helps you. So we could look at that. And again, Amanda and Jane, if there's, if we want to come in together and fund pre-apprenticeship and yeah, Megan.
I'm remembering the potential hang up with this is it is for Denver. Like really, I'm sorry, I got everybody all excited, and then I was like, we're excited about this, and I was like, okay, because it's only for Denver, which is a bad thing, you know, but it's limited. So you know, again, for the park people, great opportunity.
Yeah, Megan, if you can send that our way, we're Denver based. Most of our participants are Denver based. So any information, yeah, please and thank.
I just dropped it in the chat. So it's through Climate Action, Sustainability, and Resiliency, which is a department of the City and County of Denver. They are definitely, so a lot of it is going to be Denver funding because that's where it's coming from, but they're a really good one to keep your eye on because frankly, they have quite a bit of funding that they're pushing through. So I would definitely sign up for that newsletter through Kaiser and just keep a pulse on what they've got sending out. And then we can also bring it in as well. But I just dropped the link to the information in the chat.
Awesome. Shelby, would we be able to sign up for that newsletter through the sector partnership email, just so it shows up in our email, and then that way as opportunities come across, we can disseminate that as well, if we find them helpful?
Yeah, we already have a couple newsletters. I know we do one through the USDOL especially, so I'll go ahead and add that one.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the information as well. Thanks for sharing that, Emily. Yeah, I mean, just there's a lot coming across for green industry, green infrastructure, all of that. So it's an exciting time for sure. It's hard to keep up with though. What is next on the agenda, Shelby? And I know I hacked in there, but I couldn't remember if I had asked to put that on the agenda. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget.
We're kind of going through this really well. So the last thing we have is just providing an opportunity for business workforce needs, employers, kind of what we're struggling with, what we want to talk about to discuss challenges, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who haven't been on the meeting previously, this is literally an opportunity for anyone to say, I have an issue. Let's talk about it and see how we can help. You know, any kind of workforce issue at all, or if you have questions about apprenticeship, or questions about the sector partnership or anything, now's the time to share. Anyone? Normally somebody has something that they're having a problem with. Are we all too overwhelmed because we're all just too busy and we're just working through everything? All right.
I don't know if anybody with like Kat, could you share with this group about the way that the new Colorado, who's going to be overseeing the apprenticeship programs moving forward starting July 1st? Like, would you want to share that with the group?
Sure. So as of July 1st, Apprenticeship Colorado, so they are a part of the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment, but they're going to be a regulatory body. They will be going forward, they will be registering all programs. So they'll be registered with the state of Colorado, but their state of Colorado is registering them with the national office. So you are still registered with USDOL. Cynthia McLean is retiring effective July 1st. Essentially what she was doing as state director is being moved to this regulatory body. As far as for new programs, that's what we've been working on. And then they have another, so they kind of have three areas. They have pre-registration or development. They have access, which is apprentices accessing the programs. And then they have post-registration. And so you will be seeing a difference. I don't know what it looks like, but you will be seeing a difference in your audits and your post-registration resources. If it's anything like what we experience at the workforce, it's more clarity. And you might have a little bit more resources on the post side. I think we're still speculating there because that's not something that we've even seen anything with, because they don't take effect until July 1st. They will be a regulatory body, so they will have if there needed to be some changes. Your industry's you've been pretty well happy with your standards and things like that, but if there's some things nationally, well, actually this would be a thing. When we were looking at changing to competency based, if we didn't get to where we were happy now and we needed to do something different, and you as employers, you were stating that in Colorado, we need it to meet this and this meets our needs, that might be something where Colorado could make their own decision on what affects us. So that's one example. I can't promise what they would say, but that's who we would bring that up to. And they wouldn't be looking at the national, they would just be looking at Colorado, what Colorado employers are saying, and then making sure it fits. But I feel like we found a pretty good solution, but that would be one example where other industries might be looking to see, because they'll be working as a regulatory body. They'll be working with other regulatory bodies to make sure that we're providing the best employment opportunities and skill sets for our job seekers and our residents. I don't have a lot. I've seen a lot of webinars. I'm not actually on the inside of that. And so a lot of it is they're learning as they go, because they're what they were hoping. And then once they found out, once they got into this, you are now a regulatory body. So they've had to kind of, sometimes they're still, oh, now this means we have to make this change. And so we're going to find out a lot of things together. But if you have any questions, I do have the right resources or know who to ask. And I'm sure Janelle has the same individuals at her. We might just be able to word it differently so that we can get you the right answer and get you as quickly as possible to the right person. So, and Phil as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And always a lot to keep up with. So, and you guys are great about updating us when changes are happening. So we appreciate that. I know I saw a question from Nigel, I think, about Colorado Springs. So a lot of times when people are new to our group, they hear us talking about the Front Range program and think that's it, right? There's no other way to do apprenticeship in Colorado unless you go through related learning at Front Range. And while going through related learning at Front Range is a great option because a lot is done for you as an employer, you actually can start an apprenticeship anywhere in Colorado through your company and then do related learning in any manner that you need to do that, whether it's, sending people to courses at conferences, doing the TCIA courses, or, deciding that, hey, I'm going to send my employees to the Front Range program that, 1 to 2 days a month in the winter time to get that related learning, because what some people may not know who haven't been on before, the Front Range program related learning portion, it really only takes place, a handful of days through the winter, meaning kind of our slower season. And so you don't have an employee missing out, once a week for, 2 hours a day or whatever. It's simply just a full day taken out in short chunks through that slower season. If that helps answer your question, Nigel, or maybe I was not reading your question properly. And I don't know if you can hear me. I see that you're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
He put in the chat, sorry, my audio is working. Is there any windmill teach apprentice?
Let's see. So WinTech. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So, that's not something I know about, but again, Nigel, Kat is wonderful at connecting people with the right resources, as well as Phil had something to say in there as well. So, that's the beauty, is there are, ways to train people on the job for so many industries. And so we can definitely, if you wanted to, speak with Kat a little bit more offline about the potential opportunities there are, then we can definitely get you hooked up with the right resources for sure. So thank you for being here, Nigel. And it looks like just the resources are just like flowing there from Phil and Kat. So thank you both. I appreciate your expertise on here. They know more than just the tree care apprenticeship stuff. Thank you, Emily, for being here. Other questions? Any further clarifications we can give? I see Kat's hand up.
I put it in the chat earlier. I just wanted to let you all know, and hopefully, yeah, Dave's still on here because I think he might have some feedback. CWDC is putting out funding. From the announcements, it looks very similar to Scale Up. I don't know if there's going to be if you applied for Scale Up, you can't get this because they're two different funding sources. But I do remember Dave saying that if he had understood what he really could have asked for, he might have changed his ask. So I just wanted to, the funding says it's going to be announced in July. I don't know what that means. I don't know how quickly it's going to be due, but if there was a space on if somebody was interested, if you wanted to apply on your own, or lessons learned from a similar dollar amount on what you might have done differently, just some thoughts.
Kat, currently I think Shelby is working on that for us. I'm pretty sure she received some paperwork earlier this week, and I think Shelby's working on it. And if she's not, she will start working on it. But thanks for bringing that back up again.
And I'll get it to Shelby as soon as if you have anything to share out, Shelby, great, but I'll get you, as soon as I hear anything, it's obviously right on all of our team's fingertips. Phil or I will make sure we get it to you as ASAP.
Yeah, I did want to do, there is something called Jobber Grants right now. It's closed. The application is closed now, but it's every single year, and it ranges from 2,500 to 15,000, and it's for home service businesses, which tree trimmers are considered home service businesses. So if you do want to just kind of keep tabs on that for next year for applying, I would go ahead and do that. And yeah, we're doing WBLI and some idea granting funding right now, and both of those are going super well. So
nice. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, that's wonderful. If there's anything else, or I'm happy to give people, 7 minutes of their day back, is fine too. But I'll stick around in case anybody else has any other questions. It sounds like we're kind of wrapping up with questions that we have. Yes.
Can we get like a new little business card from the park people with the phone number? Because earlier on in the chat, they said, if anybody's looking for it. And if you go through the stuff that we have Madeline's name on there, but there's no phone number or any place for people to reach out. So if I knew a tree company looking, I'm going to say, well, the park people are looking. And then when I go back through all this stuff, there's not a phone number or a current contact. So if they can send that to us, that way, as all of us go through our days, and if someone asks, we have something to hand people.
Yeah, no worries. Megan, do you want us to send out some contact information to you and you can like disseminate it to everybody?
Yeah, if you wanted to send it to the sector partnership email, and then
Okay.
Shelby can get that out to everyone, and then that way everyone has it. And it may not be a bad idea at some point, and hopefully with our joining with CalCap, we can have some of their administrative backup as well to, maybe create, a resource contact sheet or something. And maybe we have that somewhere, Shelby, in our archives on the Google Drive, but it would be great to just have something that everyone could pull up and have access to say, oh, I should put you in touch with Kat. I should put you in touch with Phil. Let me get you in touch with Janelle. Let me put you in touch with the park people. And that way, it's just easy to have that access. So, but in the meantime, we'll get everybody the contact information for the park people.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Dave, for bringing that up too.
Yeah. Great point, because we want to connect people with folks who are already interested and have a little bit of training in the industry. So that's wonderful. Great. Anything else?
Looks like Nigel put in the chat, he was wondering what tree companies are in Colorado Springs.
Oh gosh, I'd have to look it up because it's not on the top of my head, but I definitely have a couple I recommend down there that I know I typically often first place I go to the TCIA and see who are members of TCIA in a state, and then I go to their Google reviews is the way I usually find people. Thank you, Janelle. When someone's looking for a recommendation for a company. So that's certainly something that you can do, Nigel, is do a Google search of or I'm sorry, I apologize, let me back up. You can Google TCIA and look up member companies, and then kind of find those member companies, and then you can always go and look at their reviews. I find that companies who have good reviews often are good employers. That's not always the case, but I'd say that's often the case. And then you can also, I don't know, Kat, Kat's still on. If you know of any people who have an RAP for arborists in the Springs area.
I think Janelle popped off, so Janelle might have a better idea, but we do have some larger, like Save a Tree has mentioned that they're on their second cohort, and I know that they have a larger service area. Davy, I believe, has an internal program, and so if they cover your service area, the apprenticeship directory, which I'll put a link to here in just a minute, Nigel. That would probably be a great place. And then it's going to be listed by the location where their headquarters is, but you can look at that and see, do they service my area? It's a resource as a job seeker. These are programs that exist. It doesn't mean they're hiring right now, but it's your job to then research those. Like Megan said, Google reviews would be a great idea to find out if they're potentially, someone that you'd want to be associated with doing business with. And then also in that process, you'd find out if they're serving your area. But off the top of my head, those are the two bigger ones that are in different areas. Once again, Pikes Peak Workforce Center might have, whether or not they're a RAP right now or they're working on it, they would have the best access. I know that they have somebody on their board that does it, some higher level lawn care, because they've inquired about the arborist program, but they didn't have a sponsor. They didn't have a mentor.
Yeah.
So they wanted to put somebody through, but he was going to be the first person. So, so they'll know those tools that they have available that they're specifically focused on, El Paso and Teller counties. So.
Yeah. And I think it's important to stress, anytime someone comes to us, wanting to get into the industry, and I think it's wonderful, you don't have to limit yourself necessarily to companies that do have registered apprenticeship. You can be the person who has the knowledge about apprenticeship find a great company to work for, and then work toward having an apprenticeship at that company. So that the first step is getting hired with a good company, and then the other items kind of fall into place. So that is something important to note. That unfortunately a lot of companies who do have registered apprenticeship often have their apprenticeship slots full because we have that limit of 1-to-1 journey worker mentor to apprentice ratio. So well, with that, everyone, it is 9:30 and we like to start and end our meetings on time. So thank you everyone for being here. I really think we had some different discussion today and different information that we got. So I think it was wonderful and helpful. And I hope everyone has an amazing rest of their day. And if you need anything at all, you can always reach out to that email that you received to have the meeting link, and we can get you to the right person. So, all right. Thanks so much, everybody. Happy summer. It's summer now. Yay. Enjoy the hail. If you have a roofer friend, hug them. All right. Take care.